Meet Formula One's most successful racing team, Scuderia Ferrari. Synonymous with speed and status, the legendary Italian luxury sports car manufacturer has been an integral part of the automotive landscape since they started their engines back in 1929. With red its sleek colour of choice, and the Prancing Horse its powerful symbol, a Ferrari may be one of the fastest pieces of engineering on the planet, but it can never outrace the truth. In October 2015, Scuderia Ferrari officially traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol RACE. But it's another symbol that Sergio Maron, Fiat Chrysler CEO and Ferrari chairman, is really excited to have plastered all over the place. Il Cavallino Rampante, the Prancing Horse.
The real opportunity for this brand is, and you saw the uniqueness of the logo. I mean, it's a unique animal. There's nothing in the space that looks or smells or behaves like this. Is to extend the reach of the horse into areas that reflect the same level of exclusivity and pricing that the car side does.
The logo was chosen by Ferrari founder Enzo Ferrari in honor of Francesco Baracca, a heroic World War I fighter pilot who had the horse painted on his plane. Ferrari then added the canary yellow color in the background as a tribute to his hometown of Modena, along with the letter S for Scuderia, or stable, and F for the obvious Ferrari. And when they won their first race with the logo, the stallion stuck. Red, on the other hand, is Italy's national racing color, and as a result, Enzo had no choice in making it the color of their Formula One cars. But clearly that doesn't matter, because in color psychology, red increases speed and strength of reactions. And as a result, it's been able to seductively lure some of F1's top drivers to the team.
The first race with Ferrari, everything is red, and it's a very special color because it means so much with so much history.
The Rosso Corsa has also had a positive effect on Ferrari's fan base, the largest legion in the sport.
It's great to see that so many people are coming just to see, the red cars. Obviously, the passion for the brand is big everywhere in the world, and it's a nice way to celebrate, the love and the joy for Ferrari.
Coming up, the dominant drivers of Ferrari. It takes a special breed of driver to get behind the wheel of a Ferrari. Because not only is it the most successful team in the history of Formula One, it also boasts one of the world's most powerful brands, even claiming top spot on the brand finance list in 2014. And having competed in every world championship since F1's inaugural season in 1950, not only are they the oldest team to participate, they've managed to cross the finish line first on more occasions than anyone else. In fact, between 1950 and 2015, Scuderia Ferrari won 16 Constructors' Championships and 15 Drivers' Championships. They won 224 races in 907 starts, including 696 podiums and 208 pole positions. The team has been able to attract some of the greatest names in world racing. Some were calculated and ice cold. Others were more fiery and fearless. But like the black stallion they represent, they were all built for speed. The 1950s saw Formula One dominated by Ferrari, with a trio of legendary drivers bringing them 4 championships between 1952 and 1958. Leading the way was Italian Alberto Ascari.
But Alberto Ascari, number 5, the 34-year-old Italian and world's champion driver, took the lead and held it in a Ferrari.
In 32 starts, Ascari took home 13 wins, 17 podiums, 14 pole positions, and 12 fastest laps, winning 2 world championships in 1952 and 1953. However, he left the team after his second world title following a contract dispute. And while with Lancia, he died in a crash in 1955 at age 36, or 30 years after his race car driving father, Antonio, lost his life in a crash at the same age. In 1956, it was another F1 legend to lead Ferrari all the way to the top, Argentine great Juan Manuel Fangio. In 10 races that year, Fangio won 3 of them, taking pole position 6 times. But he didn't see eye to eye with Enzo Ferrari and left the team after just 1 season. Rounding out Ferrari's dominance in the 50s was Britain's first Formula One champion, Mike Hawthorn. The quintessential old-school racing daredevil won the 1958 world title, only to leave the sport altogether, unable to overcome the death of friend and fellow Ferrari driver Peter Collins, who lost his life in the German Grand Prix just 2 months prior. In a strange twist of fate, Hawthorn would lose his own life just 6 months after leaving the dangerous professional driving world.
The death of Mike Hawthorn in a road accident is tragic news indeed.
The bow-tie-wearing Brit lost control of his Jaguar while speeding through the English countryside. The only American-born F1 world champion, Phil Hill, made sure the team would be successful in the 60s, taking the driver's title in 1961. But he was also a Ferrari legend in the 24 Hour of Le Mans, having won the great race with the Prancing Horse 3 times in 1958, 1961, and 1962. And then there was the only man to have won the world championship on both 2 and 4 wheels. John Surtees took home the world driver's title with Ferrari in 1964, after already winning 4 straight 500cc motorcycle world championships between 1956 and 1960. In the 1970s, one Ferrari race car driver was so good, many considered him to be the greatest of his generation. Born into an Austrian banking dynasty, Niki Lauda decided to take a slightly different direction than that of his family, embarking on an F1 career that both crowned him and nearly killed him. Claiming his first Grand Prix victory in Spain in 1972, the little-known Lauda became a Prancing Horse powerhouse. In 4 seasons with Ferrari, Lauda won 15 races and 32 podiums, claiming the World Drivers' Championship twice in 1975 and 1977. However, sandwiched between those 2 titles was an incident that would forever scar him at the 1976 German Grand Prix.
Niki Lauda lost control of his Ferrari on a 150-mile-an-hour curve. Brett Lunga hit it a glancing blow with his Surtees, and it in turn collided with Ertel's Hesketh. The race was restarted, but for Lauda, it was a race for life.
Despite suffering severe burns, fractures, and lung damage, even having last rites administered, Lauda came back from the dead, presenting himself to the Monza media just 6 weeks after the accident.
First week after the accident, I couldn't take any decisions at all because it was too bad. And after, when I was feeling good, I wanted to race again.
With blood-soaked bandages underneath his specially designed helmet, Lauda courageously, or crazily, returned to racing, ending the campaign just 1 point behind his bitter rival, James Hunt. The 70s ended with the World Championship of South African driver Jody Scheckter, followed by 2 decades of futility and heartache. For Ferrari, the 1980s were marred by the death of 2 of its most iconic faces. First, Canadian Gilles Villeneuve, the incredibly quick, skilled and popular driver, won 6 times with the Scuderia before losing his life qualifying for the 1982 Belgian Grand Prix. Then on August 14, 1988, Scuderia Ferrari founder and father figure Enzo Ferrari died at the age of 90. The 90s saw many talented names behind the wheel: Prost, Berger, Mansell, Alesi, but no drivers' championships. That's until they signed a clinical German racer with the ambition and aptitude to become the greatest of them all.
Obviously, I'm quite happy in Benetton at the moment. Ferrari would be a very nice situation to drive in.
After weighing his options, Benetton racing team world champion Michael Schumacher joined Ferrari in 1996. And more than just a nice situation, it would become the most formidable driver-constructor combo in F1 history.
The goal, obviously, is to win a championship in the beginning of the season. That's the main aim for us.
The Red Baron won 5 straight titles between 2000 and 2004, a dominance never seen before in Formula One. He claimed 72 wins with the team before retiring in 2006. He came out of retirement in 2010 to race with Mercedes, but his heart was forever painted Ferrari red. So when he was severely injured in a ski accident in 2013, it was the Ferrari fans' turn to support the man who'd given them so much to cheer about. Because once a Ferrari champion, always a Ferrari champion. The Scuderia has since seen the world champion victory of the Iceman, Finland's Kimi Räikkönen in 2007. The oh-so-close attempts at a driver's title from Spain's Fernando Alonso and Brazil's Felipe Massa. And in 2015, the arrival of another German who has all the tools to follow firmly in Schumacher's footsteps, Sebastian Vettel.
Looking back to, the years when I was 11, 12 years old, trying to look over the fence and trying to see a glimpse of Michael running on the track. Today I was running on the track and I saw the Tifosi around, and there's a lot of fairy tales about Ferrari and how it feels to drive a red car and so on. And in the end, I can only confirm all these fairy tales. So it's not, not just a story. It's really a true legend that exists, and feels really, really special to become part of that.
After the break, presidents, principals, and partners. In life, some bosses you come across are so good at what they do, they get benches named after them.
I am honored to present the Draper Bench.
And some bench bosses get streets named after them.
I thank everyone for being here. All my friends are here and my family. And my wife, the boss, is over there. She picked all the winning teams, by the way.
And then there's one boss who has his name on golf tours and virtually everything else.
I think it's going to be great. Everyone's asked me to be here. The tour's asked me to be here. The world has asked me to be here.
In the sporting world, perhaps the best boss was a man named Enzo, whose Ferrari shares his surname and his passion for all things racing. But Between 1923 and 1931, Enzo Ferrari won 9 races as a driver before going from driving cars to building them. But after a stint with Alfa Romeo, he founded his own automobile company, and the rest is history. One that can be admired at a museum in Modena, named after Enzo himself.
Here you have the story of a man, of his passion and all he has done in his life. He was a pilot, he was the Alfa Romeo team manager, and then he built his car. So here we tell the beginning of this story, in this modern museum, which I hope will gather not only the Ferrari fans, but also all car lovers.
His motto was, "If you can dream it, you can do it." And for Ferrari fans across the world, he certainly excelled in speed, style, and design. And when Ferrari passed away in late 1988, it was one of his aristocratic assistants who took over the reins, a man able to witness the Prancing Horse reach Formula One heights never seen before. Bologna native Luca di Montelo may have been born with a silver spoon, but he did put the time in to learn the ropes of the racing trade. After a stint as a rally car driver, he worked as Enzo Ferrari's assistant before moving to manage the Scuderia and become a senior manager with Fiat. After acting as manager of Italy's 1990 World Cup Organisational Committee, he was appointed as Ferrari's new president to replace the legendary Enzo. Under Montezemolo, things changed as fast as their cars became. Between 1991 and 2014, under his presidency, Ferrari won 6 drivers' titles and 8 constructors' titles, ending droughts in both categories that had lasted nearly 2 decades. And Ferrari's road car business blossomed as well, as they embraced exclusivity in their production. Prestige and revenues grew. But while their brand flourished, their Formula One results eventually faltered. And in 2014, after Ferrari failed to fill a spot on the podium at their home race, the Italian Grand Prix, for the first time since 2008, the writing was on the wall, and an emotional Montezemolo stepped down.
This is a very important day for me. Along with my family, Ferrari is one of the most important things in my life. I believe the relationship with this territory is fundamental. In this territory, in Maranello, in Fiorano, in Modena, are our roots, and they will continue to be here. Ferrari means culture. Ferrari means passion. Ferrari means looking forward. That's precisely what we've tried to do during these years on all fronts, whether it be organisational, technological, in factory renovation, while maintaining our relationship with our history, culture and tradition.
And sitting next to him that day, the man who became his replacement, Sergio Maron. Fiat has a 90% controlling stake in Ferrari. So it seemed only natural that the company's CEO, Sergio Maron, take over as Ferrari's top dog. And when he did, he didn't hesitate to billboard the fact it was out with the old and in with the new.
I'm worried about our current starting point, because we've gotten off to a late start with our 2015 F1 car. This all thanks to decisions made by other people, certain strategic decisions that, in hindsight, I don't necessarily agree with.
Luca di Montelo wasn't impressed with the comment, simply stating, "The sporting successes, the strength and prestige the brand has built, and the financial results are the best in the history of the company." Their brand results may have been admirable, but their F1 results were not. And that was something the Italian-Canadian executive, with the monotone attire and collegial-style leadership approach, was adamant about changing.
I know that the problem is not in the product. The Ferrari brand is still important, but we have to be important in the F1 Championship as well.
There were encouraging signs in 2015, with Ferrari finishing second in the Constructors' standings behind Mercedes, who also finished 1-2 in the drivers' standings, with Sebastian Vettel finishing third. Much of their turnaround has to do with the men behind the scenes, who study the technology behind how a car can go faster than everyone else's. Ferrari team principal Maurizio Arrivabene isn't a man to mince words. So when it came time to discuss the car he'd inherited when he took over the role in November of 2014, he wasn't shy to give his honest opinion.
Enzo Ferrari said long time ago the best car is the winning car. Last year we have an ugly car and it was a non-winning car. On top of this, I like the car of this year in terms of aesthetics. I don't know about the performance, but it's really sexy.
The SF15T featured changes that included a longer nose in accordance to regulations for improved aerodynamics, making the profile smoother. The engine cover was also redesigned, and vertical gills were added to the rear wing end plates to increase hot air extraction. And it had a longer wheelbase, fins added to the front, and a suspension similar to Mercedes to further increase aerodynamics. Now with Arrivabene on board, and with his guidance in making the car even more competitive, he hopes to be the team principal to Sebastian Vettel that little Jean Todt was to Michael Schumacher, a winning combination. He's a friendly and formidable addition to the stable, with former drivers giving him the green light.
I think Maurizio Arrivabene is doing a good job. It looks like he's getting the people nice together. It looks like the atmosphere is nice. It looks like Sebastian is enjoying. When I see him on the podium, he's loving. His body language is again as it was.
Still to come, from Maranello to the Middle East. For an automobile giant that prides itself on covering an excessive amount of ground while maintaining an excessive speed, the Ferrari racing division hasn't really moved all that much. In fact, since Enzo Ferrari started the company back in 1929 in Modena, the headquarters has only made one move, and that was to the town of Maranello, just 25 kilometers south in 1943. But despite having both the Scuderia Ferrari and Ferrari's road car factory located there, the brand has been able to triumphantly travel the world. The Prancing Horse has even lent itself to theme parks, with Ferrari World in Abu Dhabi opening at the end of 2010 to positive reviews. The company also owns a $110 million theme park in the Spanish autonomous region of Catalonia. Ferrari Land is part of Portaventura Resort, 70 miles southwest of Barcelona, and is built to host over 4 million visitors per year, half of them from outside the country.
I think if you're a fan of theme parks, I think it's the right thing, and obviously the area here should be something very special, the brand of Ferrari in the right lights.
In 2014, Ferrari set a world record public auction price when a 1962 250 GTO was sold for just over $38 million. The year also saw them build the most powerful street-legal car ever. At 950 horsepower, nothing beats La Ferrari. Now, you would think you'd need to be super rich to buy one of these supercars, and well connected, as only 499 were manufactured. Those factors are important, but what's even more important is that you are loyal to the brand. In other words, you've been a frequent shopper. Ultimately, it's this feeling of family that sets Ferrari apart from the rest. Because the car itself has gone through various transformations over the years, consistent with advances in technology and trends. But the simple, small-town values instilled by Enzo Ferrari still hold true today. And his dare to dream remains a challenge for every team member and fan, pushing the Prancing Horse to awe and inspire. And that is the truth.